I made a copy of some different things that I use pretty much weekly, and I can share this with anyone who wants it after the meeting. So, one thing that I like to look at a lot when I'm thinking about, let me phrase it this way. Before you can just like start increasing budgets in an account and like really trying to scale up spend, you really need to understand how, like, especially if you're advertising on multiple platforms, how each platform is doing for you. And so this takes your post-purchase survey data. So say you in platform, you're seeing a CPA of $30. So I have these, the orange, the light orange is inputs and the light blue is outputs. So anything that's light orange you would input, and then there's formulas for the outputs. So you can use, really, it says in platform CPA here, but you could use your triple whale CPA, your North Beam CPA, whatever you're seeing, whatever you want to contextualize. So here you have in platform CPA as an input, and then however much you spent on ads. And this is just an example. This isn't our real data or anything. And then discovery responses. So this is the question in No if you're using No, or any other survey platform. This is the question, how did you first hear about us? And so those are the responses you're counting. And then the response rate is how many people who saw the survey actually answered it. So then you take the response rate, you take the discovery responses divided by the response rate. Because like if the response rate is only 62%, but you still got 100 discovery responses, really there was 38% more people who would have said whatever platform. And of course, there's things where people coming from one platform may be more or less likely to answer a survey than others, but this is all just kind of an estimate. So keep that in mind.
Question, Spencer. Are you seeing that high of a response rate in your
Yes.
responses?
Yes.
Is there anything you're doing specifically to try to get like a higher amount of responses?
No, this is just post-purchase. This is just what they see after checkout.
Gotcha. And
Yeah.
and there's nothing else on that post-purchase page other than this.
There's a few other elements, but like order tracking information and stuff. But yeah, the survey is the main thing that's showing up.
Yeah, I think the percentage varies brand to brand, Daniel. Like for some brands, we'll see like 40%, like luggage brands. Like some people just don't care. Some brands you'll see it. It also depends on like age. I feel like some people like or like, I feel like yeah, if it was me, like if you're like a younger demo, you're just like, oh, I just don't want to fill this out. I just want pay the order and get out. Whereas if you enjoyed the process and you take your time, then you might fill it out. So I guess it's just dependent, I guess.
Yeah, and to add to that, Rahul, uh, when we send out email surveys, we've asked a question where it is, what is your age and what is the age of the recipient? We're selling care packages, so it's a gift. So what is your age? If we ask that in an email survey where they have to click on the email and then answer, we get mostly the older demographic. Whereas if we ask post-purchase survey, like right after checkout, we get the younger audience in there as well. So that's another thing to consider too, is if you're doing post-purchase surveying, or if you're doing email surveying, and you target multiple demographics, that's one thing to keep in mind, is you may be getting skewed results based on where you're asking the questions. But to keep going here, so if you take the amount of responses that would have been if everybody did respond, since the response rate is only 62%, and you divide that, or you take the ad spend and divide by that, then you get like what the CPA actually is. And I say actually because it is an estimate. And then this is just a multiplier. So this is just basically what are you seeing in platform and what is like the actual on the after reconciling with post-purchase survey data. This is like the actual, and then this is basically the similarity. So then let's say you know for the brand the goal in CPA is $25, then based on this multiplier here, then this is what you need to get in, or this is what you should be working towards in platform in order to achieve your goal. And then you can see in this example, since the in platform here is lower than the goal, the percent to goal here is actually over 100%. But say you're at like, well, it changes obviously, but say there's different inputs are in here, then maybe you're like 80% to goal. And it's actually in when I put in like the actual data for send a friend, we are profitable when we get to around 80% of the goal for any given platform, which is just something I've kind of learned over time. I don't really have a calculator built in for that or anything. But yeah, this is really useful if you're advertising on multiple channels like Facebook or and TikTok. I'd say one more thing to really keep in mind is this is the how did you first hear about us question. So if you're familiar with no, you ask a follow-up question later, which is how long did you know about us before you first purchased? Something along those lines. If you are, let's just scenario here. If you are scaled up for like 3 months and then you decrease spend, this data is not going to be very accurate because you have the long tail effects from being scaled for 3 months that are going to show up here. And you're going to have more discovery responses than were actually warranted by the amount you're spending. Now, on the flip side of that, whenever you're scaling aggressively, the impact is not as bad because the long tail is less than whatever short tail you're doing. So yeah, that's like the one caveat to this. It's just another thing to help contextualize how each platform is doing. And yeah. Any questions on that so far? I know that was probably kind of like a lot at once.
Looks good. Sorry, go ahead, Daniel.
Are you making directional, so you're making directional decisions based off of this data in terms of like expanding and like scaling?
Yeah, so say your advertising split is like, I don't know, 50% Meta, 20% TikTok, and like 30% Google or something. I don't know who would have that split, but let's say that's your split. And then you notice in this calculator here, maybe for like a couple weeks consistently, you're seeing like a lower CPA on TikTok than you're seeing on Facebook. Then maybe that is an indicator to then put more spin towards TikTok in the following weeks and see how it continues to pan out. So yeah, this has been really useful for like budget allocation, how much to spend on each platform.
And
So
is this reviewed every 7 days or every 14 days, or what do you,
yeah,
like, how
I
often
like
are
to
you
do
reviewing
it.
this?
I like to do it every Friday. It's just my cadence. I don't think like doing it daily, I think is really overkill. Like you're just not going to get uh, actionable data in over a day because there's just going to be so much variability, or could be so much variability. But if you let it go for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, then that's what's really helpful.